Greetings from the great state of Maine. My name is Chris Humphrey. I am I'm an adjunct professor at the University of Southern Maine. I teach jazz piano and music theory and coach jazz combos at the University of Southern Maine in Portland, Maine. And I also teach music theory and I'm the chair of the department at the Southern Maine Community College. And what you're going to see here is a video of basically a shortened, truncated version of a jazz piano clinic that I gave called Jazz Piano for the Non-Pianist at the GEN convention in New Orleans that I gave in January of this past year. GEN is the Jazz Educators Network, and it's a lengthy concept, something that is never ending. I'm always learning more all the time, but what can you do in a short amount of time to learn about jazz piano? Well, I'm as a non-jazz pianist who's turned himself into a jazz pianist, I think I have some ideas that you will find helpful. I was a trombone and voice major in college, and turned myself into a jazz piano player because there was a lot more work out there for piano players than there is for trombone players and male jazz singers. So without further ado, I'm just going to dig right into the clinic itself. So let me show you the outline of the clinic that I presented and show you what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. So here is the outline that I used for the clinic. So here are some assumptions that we need to make before we get into this. First of all, there are many different levels of being a jazz piano player. Some people say, "Oh, I have arranger's piano chops." This basically just means you know where to put your fingers so that you can make arrangements. Are you a fluent jazz piano player, a professional one, or are you just proficient? Can you get by, and do you sound good enough? For most of us, sounding good enough is where we want to get to, and you may want your students to get there, especially if you're an educator and you're going to festivals and you want your students to have a good experience and you want them to feel good about themselves and their playing. Proficiency is important, yes. So here are some assumptions. You got to have some music theory knowledge. We are all familiar with the idea of guitar online lessons that you hear advertising. Learn to play guitar without any theory. Well, sorry. Sure, you can. You can paint by numbers, but there's no magic that music theory. You can't skip it. So, but you don't need a ton. Students need to know what a major chord is, what a minor chord is, what a dominant chord is, what a half diminished chord is, what a fully diminished chord is, and they have to be able to spell the harmonies. You don't have to be really fast at it, but they got to be fast enough to be able to play it and sound good at it. Basic piano skill, I'm talking really basic. 2 or 3 notes in your left hand, definitely 3, and 3 or more notes in your right hand. You don't have to have great chops. I don't have great chops, but I'm teaching at a 4-year school. I'm teaching jazz piano, so it can be done. And the stuff that I'm going to teach in a certain order, but it can be learned out of order if necessary, and everybody's situation is going to be unique. This is a starting point. So, what are the primary roles of a proficient jazz pianist? Well, if you are an educator, one of the things that's kind of important, I think, to be a good educator and to be a good jazz educator, and I know we have great technology. We have iReal. We used to have Aebersol records, and those were great tools. But there's really no substitute for being able to play with a student. Bass lines in your left hand, chords in your right hand, an Eddie set of chord changes. So it's a very important skill to have. You can stop and start. You can give examples. You don't have to wait for the technology to queue up. You don't have to rely on any other thing. It's just you and the student, and it saves time and it's much more efficient. That's one role. Another role is if you have a bass player, you've got to be able to play the chords in your left and right hand. If you're part of a piano trio, you've got the melody and the solo in your right hand, chords in your left hand, or a little of each. And then, of course, the ultimate role of a jazz pianist is solo piano, where you are the full orchestra. You are the bass player, you are the percussion, you are the rhythm, you are the melody, you are going back and forth between all of that. Your left and your right hand are seamless in terms of complete creativity. That's the ultimate goal. We're not going to get there in a half an hour, but let's do our best. So here's what we're going to do. We want to sound good quickly. That's important for our students. We want them to sound good quickly. They want to sound good quickly. If they don't sound good quickly, they're not going to stick with it, right? So the example that I often give is the example that happened to me back in 1987 when I was about to graduate from the University of New Hampshire, and I had a music ed degree coming up, and I got an A in functional piano. So I had my piano chops ready to go. I could be a choral person, I could be a band person, I was ready to go. And I student taught in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Many of you are familiar with that program, now taken over by Aaron Bush and Brian Raymond at the high school level at least. And back in the day, it was Mr. Steve Massey, whose name I'm sure many of you know. And he said to me, "Hey, Chris, what are your piano chops like?" I said, "Oh, great. I got an A in functional piano." And let me make sure my audio is good that you can hear this piano. Original sound for musicians. You should be able to hear this. He said, "Well, let me hear you play a B-flat blues, like if you were to accompany a young trumpet player, say. What would you play for a B-flat blues?" And I played this, because I was hip. I played. Oh yeah, baby. Five chord. Woo! No. And Steve told me bluntly, that's not jazz, man. Those are correct notes. Those are the right chords. That's the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. And those are dominant chords, so they are the blues. But that's not jazz. You have, first of all, I guess my style, I'm sure my style was probably better than that. And my bass line was probably better than that. I'm purposefully playing it awfully for the example. But my voicings were not good. I didn't have anything hip in the voicings. I had nothing. I didn't have, I didn't have anything of any upper tone, color, structure of any kind. So he taught me a couple of things, which I'm going to share with you, and then I was off and running, and I just kept going and turned myself into a working jazz pianist over time. So here we go. Let me show you some of those things. And here is the outline. Oh, I just showed you the outline, did I not? Okay, so let's get to the gist of it, which is the most important part is this starting point, which is 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. Now, the reason why that's important is we're spelling upwards. We're starting on the 3rd, going up to the 7th, and then up to the 9th. Or we're going to start on the 7th, and we're going to go up to the 3rd, and then go up to the 13th. So we're spelling these chords vertically. Is that the word? Yes, we're going up. Yeah. And we want to be able to play these voicings in both hands. So we want to play it in the left hand, and we want to be able to play it in the right hand. You can't see it, but I just did switch hands. Trust me. The reason why we want to be able to play the exact same voicings in both hands is because we might want to play the bass line. So if I play those voicings in my left hand, I can solo or play the chord changes. I can play. This assumes I have a bass player. I'm just doing 3-7-9 in my left hand. So that's in my left hand. I want to play with my right hand so that I could play a bass line. Play them in both hands, starting with whichever one is most comfortable for me. For most students, you may, if it works for you, you may want to have your students, if you have a bass player, you might say, okay, Susie, you're going to start with these voicings in your left hand because I already have a bass player and I want you to learn it this way first. Whatever works for you and your students. But if you can make this work for the blues and all 2/5s and all 2/5-1s, you got about 90 to 95% of all stuff that's gonna happen in your jazz program. It's gonna happen for you. You're just gonna have that in there, you know. So let's look at it. I'm gonna show you a chart, and it's gonna look overwhelming at first because it's got a lot of arrows and red ink and everything all over it. But don't fret about it. It is just over the top, detail oriented, but we're not going to spend too much time on those details. We're going to look at, so I'm sharing my screen and now I'm giving you this concept paper. See if you can see it there. Okay, hopefully you can see that. All right, so these are rootless voicings, and they're rootless voicings on purpose because we're assuming that the bass player is either going to be another person or my left hand. Right? So here it is in a nutshell. Again, I got to know the theory. I got to know that it's a minor 7 chord, so it's the 3rd, which is an F, the 7th, which is a C, and the 9th, which is an E. The next chord, minor to dominant, is G7. The 7th, hello, same note. The 3rd, only a 1 note changed. And the 13th, hello, same note. That's helpful. That's 3-7-9. That's 7-3-13. What changed? In the red ink, you can see the outer notes hold, and the middle note went down a half step. That's all that happened. I just played the roots in my left in the bass, right? If I do that as a bossa nova. That's minor to dominant. So the pattern is the outer notes hold and the middle note goes down a half step rather. Dominant to dominant is very similar, except that the bottom note is also going to move. The 3rd moves down a half step to the 7th. The 7th moves down a half step to the 3rd, and the 9th stays as the 13th, right? Dominant to dominant, I can reverse. I can't reverse all of them, but I can definitely reverse dominant to dominant, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on that. The reason why I can't really reverse to the minor is because the 13th is a little bit quirky on a minor chord, right? Because we know theoretically it's the 6th. So having the 7th and the 6th on a minor chord is not always great. I'm not saying you can't do it, of course. I'm not silly that way, but it's difficult, shall we say. So the only ones that I really like to reverse is into major and into dominant. So dominant to dominant reversed, you can go 7-3-13 into 3-7-9. That's the example over here. G13, 7-3-13 over to C7, 3-7-9. Okay? Dominant to major. Outer notes hold, middle note down a half step. Here's the arrow thing. These are the same thing. This is the same pattern. So if I go minor to dominant and then to major, that's the same pattern, right? So dominant to major, the middle note moves, the outer notes stay the same. Here, dominant to major, 7, 3, 13, 3, 7, 9. There's a lot of notes changing there. That one has a lot more motion in it. But they're very close, and that's why I like them, because the motion is not huge, right? We don't have a piano player playing chords that go. You don't have this. Right? We don't have the voicings all moving in parallel motion. I mean, if I can change, even just changing the voice leading of where the notes are is so much superior than everything's going in the same direction. That's another byproduct of 379, 7313. Okay? All right. So if I look at my 2 5s and I think about it as a pattern, this is going to lend itself to sounding good right away, and it's going to allow me to play in every key. How great is that? So get into this in depth. 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. So what happened here? Obviously the roots are just the roots. Sorry. Right? I'm just going root, 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 up a fourth, up a fourth, up a fourth, up a fourth, or down a fifth, however you want to look at it. I can go in that direction if I wanted to, right? The outer notes are holding. The middle note's moving. Now, when I want to go down a half step, the other notes move, but the middle note holds. F sharp is G flat, yes? F sharp holds to G flat. B natural moves down to B flat. C natural moves down to C flat. So I have now moved down, and I get this. And I can go around the entire 12-key cycle, hearing that whole thing. And it sounds pretty darn good. And I have success right off the bat. Right? So if I hear this as an exercise, obviously I'm not going to play half notes. I might play it as a bossa nova. But eventually the student will play this as a pattern without really having to think. And the fingers will just go there. But have them start someplace. Have them start on E flat. Have them start, and they learn that this is G major. A minor to D7 is G major, and know that this is A flat major. So they have actually covered all of these. A flat is the end, right? We've gone through G all the way to A flat. And notice that I've done that in my right hand. Those voicings are in my right hand. And I can do the next thing, which is to put this in my left hand. And notice what I've done in the right hand voicing is I've done the root in the fifth. The root in the fifth here in the right hand has become the fifth on the A there, and the ninth. The ninth is missing there. Everything's going down by half steps, and it sounds good when I have a bass player playing along with me, for sure. I can play along with that by going down by whole steps, and I can hear a bass line that's there. Here's the whole steps thing going on. Okay, let's move on. So that's just by moving in half steps without a resolution. 2-5, 2-5. One thing that's quite common in jazz compositions in all music is the resolution 2-5-1. So I have a 2 followed by 1. A lot of times what comes after that is that the 1, 2-5-1, that 1 will become a new 2. Becomes the new 2, and it turns into a minor chord. 2-5-1. That becomes the 2-5-1. Tune Up by Miles Davis is a big one. Actually, Miles didn't write that. But 2-5-1, 2-5-1, 2-5-1, 2-5-1. So if you could learn that, you could really find something useful for playing in jazz combos. So here is that exercise, and here is the 2-5. Now the problem with this is that when it resolves, you can only get around 6 keys because you're going in whole steps, right? I'm in A flat, then I'm G flat, E, and there's only 2 whole tone scales, right? So when I get to B flat major, I start over again. So I have to start in a weird place. So I have to do the other 6 keys, yes? So here, 2-5-1, and that 1 becomes the new 2. And that becomes the new 2. Obviously writing it harmonically, yes? 2-5-1. Rule of thumb, staying around middle C. 3-7-9, 7-13, 3-7-9. All of these voices. Every single one of these has a nice, pretty upper tone color in them. There's nothing in any of these that is not jazz. There's never just a 3rd and a 7th. There's always a 9. There's always a 13. So it's always going to be something you can build on. And if they see, one thing that I also love about these 3-note voicings is I got 2 more fingers that I could use if I need. And generally I probably only need 1 more. So I often will see a minor 7, flat 5, right? So this my example here is F minor 7. Well, I don't have a 5th. None of my voicings that I've taught you have a 5th in them, right? So if I have a minor 7, flat 5, I simply add it. There it is. Done. If I have my 5th in there, I can add the flatted 5th, and I can hang on to it. And that flatted 5th becomes the flatted 9th. Oh, that's so pretty. So the flatted 5th of the 2, I mean, I can learn all the stuff just keeps on going. I can go down and up and add a sharp 11 and a flatted 5th. And then I have all kinds of options because I'm starting with a simple 3-note voicing. I can add a 4th note and a 5th note to make it even hipper if I have to, if I need to. And I got to learn it in my right hand and in my left hand, and I can just keep on building and building and building and building. And if I had learned this when I was in 8th grade, I'd be a monster now. So teach this to your 8th graders. They'll be monsters when they're seniors, especially if they get really excited about it. Okay, let's move over to the blues. In the blues, we are going to find that we have a bass line issue. So we want to, where did it go? We got to have bass lines if we are going to play a bass line if there's no bass player, yes? Jazz Piano Clinic bass line. So duo blues. Here it comes. So I'm going to share that screen with you. Sharing blues. Desktop, here it comes. Not now, go away. Here it is. Okay, so this is a very simple, I got the B flat blues, I got an F blues, and I got a C blues here because those are the more common ones that you probably will use. Notice the bass line is real simple. If I just played root 5, 1, 5, 1, 5 with all of them, my voice leadings would be, I would get that kind of. So. I don't want that. So as much as I can, even if it's only once at the end of every other measure, which is kind of what I'm doing here. So I'm going 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, and I'm changing direction. Now I'm doing a scale for only one note. Now I'm going down the scale. 3, 2, 1, 5, 1. Stepwise. Chromatic. Chromatic again. Right? So this bass line is pretty simple. It just has diatonic approach, diatonic approach, chromatic approach, chromatic approach, diatonic approach, chromatic approach. Boom. Simple bass line. So I have those written out. And the right hand is playing 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. 3, 7, 9, 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13, 7, 3, 13. Pretty simple, right? And I'm not going to play whole notes. I'm probably going to teach the Charleston rhythm. Charleston, 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 and try to mix it up, right? You get the gist of that. Okay. Now I'm going to show you another thing, which is the blues with both voicings. Okay. So this one is important because it allows me to demonstrate that we don't want students to play the exact same thing on every chorus of the blues. Do we? Please agree with me. Everyone say, no, we don't. We don't want them to play the same voicings, the same rhythm, every chorus all the way through. We can do all kinds of magic. We can, we can manufacture texture. We can say, okay, behind this chorus, guitar is going to comp. And then behind this chorus, piano is going to comp. This chorus, vibes is going to comp. We can do all that stuff. That's all smart. But we really want our students to figure out how they themselves can create texture by changing their voicings. And even if it's just as simple as changing up what they start with, it creates enough of a change in texture and feel to fool everybody and to think that they're doing something different every time, if you catch my drift. We want guitar players to not just play E7 like this every time, right? We want them to be able to play E7 here and here and here and here and here. Yeah, that's pretty advanced. But on piano, let's at least get them to do 2. So 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. And 7, 3, 13. I've got another octave of that. I got all those with 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. So that's what this is an example of. This is an example of showing the students that if I start on 3, 7, 9, I could also go to 7, 3, 13, and then that could resolve to 3, 7, 9. Then I could go to 7, 3, 13. That could resolve to 3, 7, 9. And I want to get used to going back and forth between the two. And I'm not going to play half notes. Obviously, in this example, I just played half notes so it's easier to read. But the more I can vary what I'm doing, the more interesting it is. Even if it's as simple as just starting one chorus and completing a chorus with that method. it's going to be way more interesting. You get the gist, right? So I often give this example. I play this. I'm going to play a chorus of B-flat blues, and now the example that you've had so far is all 1, 4, 5, 1. I'm going to play more sophisticated with a 3-chord, a 6-chord, a 2-chord, some alternate turnarounds. But all I'm going to play, at least I'm going to try, is 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. Just using those voicings. But I'm going to mix it up with not just 1, 4, and 5. And you can hear all the variety that I can have there. 7, 3, 13. 7, 3, 13. 3, 7, 9. Sometimes dominant. Sharp 9. Added some sharp 11 there, right? Add a diminished chord. Add a flat minor sticking chord. Some tritone substitutions in there. But all of that derives from 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. And it expands from there. But that's where it starts, and that is key. So let's see if there's something else that I missed in the outline that I can share with you. Let's go to the sharing part. And let me show you the outline and go back to the finish of that. So, right, we want to eventually expand, but we got to start simple. The students want to feel good. They want to feel successful. We want to get the bossa nova happening. Oh, I want to talk briefly about Frank Mantooth's generic voicings. So the voicings that I've mentioned to you are 3, 7, 9, 7, 3, 13. Frank Mantooth, his generic voicings are brilliant. He talks about how to voice things in the opposite direction. I was talking about going up 3, 7, 9, and 7, 3, 13, going this way. He uses a thing called that he had dubbed generic voicings. And again, minor, major, and dominant. With the major chords and dominant chords, he talks about start on the root and build perfect fourths down. So let's take C major. You want to play a nice C major jazz voicing. Start on the root and go down perfect fourths. That's pretty nice, right? Just thinking in a different direction, but you get really nice notes in there. You get the root, the 5th, the 9th, the 6th, the 3rd finally comes in there. The 3rd's not in there until the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th note. And then the major 7th. Quartal, right? Q-U-A-R-T-A-L harmony. Same thing with dominant. Let's take an F dominant. He starts on the root and go down in perfect fourths. You have to alter it to make it dominant. So I had to make that E an E flat. Same thing. If I kept it major, I would just have an E natural in there. E natural, E flat makes it dominant, major, E flat makes it dominant. That's the only change. It's just make that so. Minor's my favorite one. He says you start on the 3rd. His miracle voicing for a minor voicing is to start on the 3rd. So let's say D minor. No, let's do C minor. So C minor, E flat, go down in perfect fourths. Nice. So I got, right off the bat, I've got the 3rd, I got the 7th, I have the 11th, or the 4th, right? So what-ish, right? Now the root and the 5th. That lends itself to some nice McCoy-Tyner ish things. So that's Frank Mantooth's miracle voicing. So 379-7313 as a basic, I don't want to use the term shell voicing, but as a basic starting point, 3-note voicing to grow from. Frank Mantooth's generic voicings. Happy educating y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. I will have the handouts available for the MAJE as well. Take care.